Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I'm your host, Mike Larkin, and joining me today is my gal pal, my friend. It's Miss Ella J, the host of our Wrestling Gal podcast, SC Scoops. Man, you're dipping the toe into everything, man. It's a long laundry list of a resume here, Ella. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you today?
I cannot complain. First and foremost, I will say this. What a year 2021 is, man. I mean, we're coming back from a year of some sense of normalcy, getting back in front of the people that everything happened with the coronavirus and today's climate with COVID. But, man, I got to say, what a year 2021. Got to see a lot of great amount of action and moments to create, right?
Definitely a lot of ups and downs. 2021, I was doing another podcast today about 2021, and there was a lot of things that not a lot of us had on our bingo cards that happened this year in 2021.
Right. Well, for me, I mean, we start off the year, we have Edge win the Royal Rumble, which was absolutely awesome to see. And Edge and Christian being in that Royal Rumble together, Christian going to AEW. Like, how awesome was that just to see finally Christian come back and they're both reunited 1 year after Edge returns?
I know it was not a moment that I was expecting. Christian's music hit. I think he was like number 22 or something like that, 24 or something like that. And then his music hits, and then they had that emotional hug in the ring. And Christian made it all the way to like the final 4 or 5 in that match.
Huh?
And then a month later, he's in AEW, and then months later, he's Impact World Champion. So he's been in like every major promotion this year. It's crazy.
It is, and I look at it from a stance too. If we have so many great veterans like that doing their thing, anything is possible from the wrestling world. And I've got to start this hot as well too, because my goodness gracious, Ella J. The funny thing, we were talking about this before we even got on air here. You made your pay-per-view debut with NWA. You and your girl Samira doing it. I've got to congratulations, long overdue, doing it for Empower, man. NWA, look at you go, man.
Thank you. That's still a surreal moment. And actually, I just got off with Samira right before this. We were talking about that. It was absolutely crazy. And I can't believe it's coming up on like 4 months now.
Right. And I mean, I look at it from a stance too. I think what I always admire about you, this is why you're my gal pal. God dang, man. We're both in the same year. We're both making you're making your pay-per-view debut. I made my pay-per-view debut ring announcing. Isn't it amazing to see what hard work that pays off, man?
Yes, it's absolutely incredible. And really, truly, the sky is the limit going into 2022.
Absolutely. And I got to say for you as well now, man, we got everything that's going on with the new women's promotion that you got with see that. Now we got to talk about this because I see you and Alyssa Marino doing your thing. You're in and out of the locker room, Maria Kanellis. Talk about this now because what a promotion that's coming out.
Yeah, Capital Championship Wrestling, which at the time of recording this, I'll be making my commentary debut this week, recording it anyway, and I'm nervous about that. But yeah, CCW, it's a new promotion that I think really came about earlier this summer that started up. It takes place in Delaware, and it's a new all women's promotion. Obviously, they crowned their first ever CCW champion and tag team champion. So the Renegade Twins, I find it cool that both like a lot of Texas stars, like Kylan's been a lot in Mission Pro and like Florida and like Texas and stuff. So Kylan King is the inaugural CCW champion, and the Renegade Twins are the inaugural CCW tag team champions. And I was brought in since, I mean, I do a lot of work in women's wrestling. So not only like will I be doing commentary for the recently a legacy show, I was also brought on to co-host a podcast with another badass in the commentary and announcing and podcast game, Alyssa Marino of Let's Get Serial. She's absolutely incredible, and it's cool to be able to vibe and co-host, especially in CCW's In and Out the Locker Room with a lot of amazing female stars. And I mean, our debut episode was with a woman with an amazing mind, Maria Kanellis Bennett of like our Ring of Honor. She's been in WWE, obviously like New Japan. She's leading the Ring of Honor women's division. So it was cool to really do some more stuff in women's wrestling and for women's wrestling.
Agreed wholeheartedly, and I will definitely promote the promotion. Excuse me, at the end of the show. But god dang, man, you're talking about someone like Maria Kanellis Bennett, like you mentioned, WWE Impact doing her thing at Ring of Honor. It's amazing to see like her progression, how she went from the Diva Search to what she's doing now. A lot of people don't realize just like the amounts of just hurdles that she had to go through, along with a lot of amazing women as well.
Definitely too. And it was I was so nervous going into that because Maria was really one of the first women I ever saw in wrestling. Like obviously Mickey James, like Cool, and Maria were like the first 4 women I ever saw. in professional wrestling. So it was kind of a cool kind of 12 years later to be able to speak with her as a woman who has overcome so much in her career wrestling, but now to contribute as like an analyst and a board of directors member, a producer for the next generation and current generation of women's superstars. She's come so far, and her story was absolutely incredible to get to hear live.
Agreed wholeheartedly. And I will say this as well, when you were talking about Alyssa Marino, doing her thing on NXT, back doing her thing, Indies, broadcasting, she is someone much like yourself, very vibrant, very passionate, and does shine through with her work.
I definitely agree. And honestly, I was like, I get to work with Alyssa Marino, who has done so many incredible things with like NXT. She's done a lot of the indie promotions. She has way more experience than me with like interviewing and announcing and commentary. And so the fact that I get to work with her, I was like honestly an incredible honor.
Agreed, and especially with the promotion that you're doing now, and once again, it'll be in the description. We need more women's wrestling promotions. We've had Shimmer, we've had Shine, we've had Rise. This is just nothing that's very integral. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of women's promotions out there, and that's right. Not great to see it at the forefront, Ella.
I will say a lot of like all women's promotions have really popped up, I think, over the last few years. Obviously, like you named a lot of them, but there's also like Pro Wrestling Eve, there's Femme Fatales in Canada, there's Fierce Females in Scotland, there's a lot in Japan, there's a lot that's obviously Mission Pro, Shine, Shimmer, like there's a lot going on there. I feel like we've definitely seen a rise over the last few years. And I mean, NWA Empower was its own show coming up. So it's cool to be able to be a part of that. And I mean, we have like some incredible guests coming up with like the CCW champion Kylan King. I don't know when this is coming out, but we just spoke with Kylan King this past week. And so it was cool to hear her journey and, of course, making history at Capital Championship Wrestling as its first ever champion.
Agreed. And first of all, Kylan King doing her thing from AEW and just all over the place. Another bright up and coming talent. And also, I'm going to say this right now because you were bringing up the Pro Wrestling and Even stuff, my favorite UK favorited professional wrestlers, man. I got to tell you, if you guys have not also seen NXT UK, because, man, you got Mako Satomura over there. You got Zaya Brookside. You got the former Bea Priestley, Blair Davenport over there. Those girls have been killing it. It's great to see Mako at the forefront, all these girls working with a legend like Mako.
Oh my gosh, too, and like Millie McKenzie, Stevie Turner, formerly Bobby Tyler, AFE Valkyrie, my goodness, like they're absolutely crazy. And now Mako's in the States. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, could she be turning up on NXT television? We'll see what happens. But Mako Satomura is in the States, I saw. So that's going to be super fun.
Oh, agreed. I mean, and you have Kaylee Ray in NXT. You have so many people that she could work with, which I'm going to say right now, for those who have not checked out the women's war games, Cora Jade, my goodness, she's coming off that cage, man.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. The fact that I knew Cora Jade 5, 6 years ago on the good old wrestling Twitter. Now she's doing incredible things in WWE. Is absolutely crazy to see somebody grow and really make waves now on NXT.
I think with women like that, and I'm going to say right now, as someone who had such a young age, 20 years of age, she is someone that, again, that was her moment. That was a breakthrough moment. And if you put her against whoever in the NXT division, I'm all for it. Tag team or that singles run against Mandy Rose, I'd love to see it. And she worked it with Dakota Kai and so many women. They really did shine through.
Definitely, they seem to have a lot of trust in her, and obviously she was really the breakout star of that matchup. It was her first ever pay-per-view in WWE, I believe, and she was really the star heading out of that matchup.
And I look at it from a stance too as well. I mean, earlier this year we had Bianca and Sasha absolutely make history main eventing with WrestleMania. One of the damnedest matches that I've seen in a long time when it comes to women's wrestling. Really transcended with the two of them. And I mean, now what we have with Charlotte Flair and Becky and the storytelling with Liv Morgan. I'm going to say right now, bummed that she lost, but I understand where we're going, especially on the anniversary of Lita and Trish.
That is true. And I mean, I feel like it was very much embodied by Angry Liv Girl at the end, how a lot of us were feeling. It made sense though for Becky Lynch to win that way. She's been winning by cheating. I don't think she's won cleanly for a long while now. So it made sense. It was kind of expected that Becky would retain somehow, but hopefully this leads up to a rematch at day one. I mean, Liv has a case to make that Becky didn't beat me cleanly. Like she needed to use that roll up rope leverage trick again. So I think Liv has a lot of support behind her, and she could easily make a case for a rematch, which they hope they end up doing.
Same, and I mean, with what we're seeing on SmackDown with Charlotte and Toni Storm, like the fact that we're getting Toni Storm in the forefront, former NXT UK Women's Champion, doing her thing NXT, one of the sole survivors with Survivor Series in 2019. So I mean, again, it's one of those things. It's like we're bringing up the new talent to the forefront, and her and Charlotte, man, the chemistry has been great. I know they just got off of Mount tonight on SmackDown. I look forward to seeing that going towards day one as well.
Me too. I unfortunately did not to get to catch SmackDown tonight, but I know it seems like Toni Storm is going to be getting a SmackDown Women's Championship opportunity. I am so excited that there's like newer stars on the rise in the championship picture because for a lot of the year it was like the same people, you know. So it's cool that we're kind of ending the year. I mean, Liv Morgan and Toni Storm going after the champions. So I it's good in my book.
I like your style. I mean, we have the return of Becky Lynch this year, which has been awesome. But I also look at it from a stance too. Like you actually made a great point. We've seen Bianca and Sasha so many times. Bianca and Bayley, who's another one I can't wait to see until she comes back. But it's like, yeah, we give like the same stuff, but now we're bringing them back up to the forefront. I think that's awesome. And I mean, NXT 2.0 gets a lot of like criticism because it's not like the old black and gold. But if you look at it from a stance too, we're back to being what we were at the start of the NXT in like 2012, 2013. Here's Bayley, here's Paige, here's Charlotte, Sasha, Becky. We're introducing the new stars, and if you don't know them, you're going to know them. So I think I enjoy how they're doing. What do you think about the process of NXT 2.0?
Yeah, I mean, I normally am working when it happens, but from what I've seen, I mean, they have multiple women segments, which is something the main roster can't really say. But they're definitely, I mean, after War Games, I mean, they pretty much proved that, I mean, this new era NXT 2.0 won the men's War Games. And I mean, Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly are seemingly gone now. So they're definitely building their stock and their newer stars, especially with like Grayson, right?
Yes, Grayson Waller.
Yeah, definitely seems to be at the top. Carmelo Hayes. There's a lot of people that they've been building, so it's cool that they're actually like building the stock of some newer faces.
Oh, agreed. And I mean, Braun Breaker, my goodness gracious, son of Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner. Here's the thing with him. That dude, for someone who's only been doing it a year, mind you, the genetics, but a year, and he's killing it. It reminds me of Bianca Belair when she first did the Mae Young Classic, only in there for like a year or two, and then boom, here we are, one of the biggest stars in women's wrestling right now.
Pretty much. I think we're just getting a glimpse of like a year from now, these are going to be major champions.
Absolutely. And speaking of major champions and major women, I'm going to do it because you're on here. Hardcore Country! Mickie James. Mickie James winning that Knockouts Championship, beating one of my favorites, and I know you were very torn in this, Miss Deonna Purrazzo, the virtuosa herself. Great match, and it's great to see Mickie on top of the Knockouts division once more.
Oh, I know. Oh, my God. I honestly was thoroughly convinced that Deonna was going to be retaining there. I told myself, like, I'm going to go in. Both my girls said a dream match for me. I felt like the real winner. I was convinced that, I mean, Deonna was just going to plow through again, another legend. But obviously, Mickie James pulled out victorious and is now Knockouts champion for the 4th time. And now we get a rematch coming up at Hard to Kill. It's going to be another great match. And it's so cool after, like, everything Mickie has overcome this year, from being released, obviously, to being told women's wrestling doesn't matter, to, I mean, putting together her own all-women's pay-per-view, then making her in-ring return at 73, and then taking the Knockouts Championship from Deonna Purrazzo, and also just wrestling Mercedes Martinez. This year has been definitely up and down, but she's definitely riding the wave of momentum heading into 2022.
One of the biggest head scratchers for me for the release for the women. You have someone like Mercedes Martinez, who's feuding with Xia Li, and he's a veteran and who could help all these young girls, and then boom, get out of here.
Yeah.
That was always a head scratcher to me, but the fact that we got Mickie and Mercedes out of it, Mercedes, who's been grinding since 2000 on the indies, to WWE, they both had a killer match. I actually just caught on that like about great.
Yeah. That was only the 2nd time ever that they had squared off one-on-one. The last time was 2010, like after between that time Mickie got released and the time she signed with Impact. Later that year, I was like in that 6-month period. But to now, like those are two of the women on my Mount Rushmore of women's wrestling. So the fact that I got to see it happen was incredible. And then obviously at the end there, it kind of ties into this whole Mickie Deonna rematch. So I was here for it.
Oh, same. And I look at it from a stance too. Well, first and foremost, their last one was in 2010 and 20, and now 2021. It didn't even act like that, man. They both had a great matchup. And as well, I will say this, Man, Mickey and Deanna, I'm going to put it in there for you because we were talking about this. Taya Valkyrie, the former Frankie Monet, no longer in WWE. I love to see her go back. La Huera Loca, Impact Wrestling. I'd love to see me some Mickey and Taya.
Taya seems to be going after Deanna at AAA because
Nice.
last week, she had a promo challenging Deanna Prazo, it seems, for the Reina de Reinas champion. Deanna still is the Reina de Reinas champion for AAA. So it seems that we're going to be getting some Taya Valkyrie against Deanna Prazo, and maybe that'll cross over into Impact sometime. But I'm also here for Mickey and Taya to go at it as well.
I think what's also very interesting as well, like if you even like mix the three of them or just together, it's fine with me because I look at it from a stance too. Like we're talking about all these people that get released, and Deanna I include in this. Someone with so much potential, and it's really shown in Impact Wrestling, like by far. I look at it from a stance. So you have the AAA women, you have her and Taya, AAA home, La Huera Loca. Boom, transition right over to Impact, make it work because we've seen that so many times where Impact and AAA have worked together. It's a nice blend.
I would just want to know how they would write Taya back onto TV because the last time she's being taken away to prison. So how, like, maybe she busted out of jail a year later or something would have to happen with Rosemary because the last time we saw her, she was getting taken away to prison, being arrested. So
I'm curious how they write that.
yeah.
But yes. Oh, but no, and I look at it from a stance too as well. Like we were talking about the releases just there. I'm gonna just.
I know where this is going.
I'm so upset. Number one, because this is why you and I have to talk about this. You and I both got into professional wrestling for one man only, and his name is Jeff Hardy. I started in 02 with Jeff. You started in 09 with Jeff. Jeff Hardy has been released. We saw the footage from the house show in Texas, and I'm going to say this right now. Thoughts and prayers go out to Jeff Hardy.
Definitely, too. At the end of the day, like, I just hope he's okay. We've been hearing some conflicting reports. His wife says he's okay. Other reports say that he was offered treatment, but he refused. So I don't know. I don't know what to believe. But at the end of the day, I just hope for his well-being. Yeah.
Well, that's my thing. And I mean, you see a lot of fans, and everybody wants the fantasy book, but I'm like, let's not even worry about a
Yeah.
heart. Let's let the man like stay away from wrestling. That's not important right now. Let him get the help that he needs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just so devastated because I was supposed to see him literally in 3 weeks.
Oh.
Ah.
Well, for me, I'm like, he was on the Stone Cold podcast, which was a great show. Great listen for anybody that wants to see it. But god dang, man, you have something where it looks like we could have had something with him and Roman Reigns and the Usos.
Yeah.
And then this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
We don't know everything that went on to lead up to that, why he was definitely off in those videos that I watched at that house show. There was definitely something off. So we don't know. I don't really want to speculate, but something was definitely just off about him. So I mean that ultimately seemed to have led to his release. So I don't know.
Agreed, and the well-being of Jeff Hardy is most important. And I'm gonna say right now, even as he gets older and he's doing what he's doing, there's still the wear and tear over the years that he's done to his body. My God.
Yeah, still going at what 44, I think he is. Yeah. Man, I was so sad when I found out when saw it. I was at work yesterday, and then somebody texted like Jeff just got released. I'm like, excuse me,
Right?
and like all my people, not all my people, but a lot of my people have been released this year, and I mean, we've seen them succeed, but of course it sucks to lose their job.
About another one of your favorites.
I know.
Jomo.
I know. I'm still sad about that too.
I mean, he's doing his thing. He was doing the spiritual, like very Zen type of deal. Way. And I'm like, okay, maybe when Miz comes back from Dancing with the Stars, we could go back to that angle. But nothing.
We never got any closure between Miz and they were supposed to have that match the week after they split. Then Miz obviously went to Dancing with the Stars. I'm like, okay. They both got drafted to Raw. I'm like, okay, they can revisit it. And then Miz is back 2 weeks later after he's released. And Thursdays suck because all of these releases have happened on a Thursday. Well, at least the recent ones. And it just sucks.
It does. And I mean, I'm going to look at it from a stance too as well. This will make you happy and make you smile because as soon as I saw Ms. Turn on Morrison, flashback right back to '09 in the draft, man. The reality check to Morrison. That's
I
exactly where my mind went.
I wanted that match. I love them together, but I wanted that match, and we never got any closure from it. But I mean, John Morrison is thrived elsewhere before. Johnny Impact, Johnny Blackcraft, Blackwood, something. Johnny Spade, he was at one point. Johnny Nitro, Johnny Mundo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, John, I don't know, Johnny AEW. That doesn't really have the same ring to it.
Johnny Dynamite.
Johnny Dynamite. That's true.
Johnny Rampage.
We'll see. I would assume he probably has a 90-day.
Yes, main roster.
Yeah. February. Okay, that places us at February. You know what's coming up in March?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens.
Okay. So I look at it from a stance too as well. I mean, we've had so many releases this year. The resume is just nuts. I mean, you have Keith Lee.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
I'm so devastated still by Keith Lee and Mia Yim. Like, when I tell you that, like, a majority of my favorites got released this year, like Mickie James, Keith Lee, Mia Yim, Mercedes Martinez, John Morrison, Jeff Hardy.
I'm gonna say right now, Dolph Ziggler gets released next. I'm not probably hearing from no. No.
Don't say that. Don't put that into the universe.
I don't want to put it in the universe, man. But I mean, it's the year of the budget cuts. That's what 2021 it was. It was the year of the budget.
Well, Jeff's technically wasn't for budget cuts. That was very apparent.
Yeah.
But yeah, Keith Lee, my gosh, like COVID almost took him this year. He overcame so much. Then with Mia by his side, I'm just grateful he's alive.
And that's the thing. Like, you have this man struggle. You could have even talked about this and brought up, like, here's this man. He's coming back from COVID. He almost died. Here he is. Boom. And then he's Bearcat. And I'm like, okay.
No, he's just Keith Lee to me. No Bearcat.
No Bearcat. No. But still, it just it looks like they're trying to make him like a monster. And then all of a sudden, goodbye.
Well, the moment they changed his theme song, I was like, this is just going downhill.
Well, when he first comes up and he's wearing the attire that he's wearing, and I'm like, this is not the Keith Lee I know. What happened to Bask in His Glory? And then it's just generic. And I'm like, God, this sucks.
He is limitless, or Yimitless, if you talk about Mia and Keith.
Well, that's the thing, too. Yeah. Because it's like, you have Mia Yim. Didn't even do anything since they split up from everything with Retribution.
She got drafted to Raw, and then
nothing. But still, I mean, I think it's like once Keith goes, okay, let's get rid of Mia Yim. And now here's the thing, too. Mia Yim, if she was to go back to Impact as Jade, because she did some great work as Jade in the Dollhouse, she could go wherever. Just give me some more Mia Yim, right?
Oh, I agree completely. I'm excited to see where she goes next. Will it be Impact? Who knows? I mean, we've seen Mickie James. We've seen Chelsea Green. We've seen the inspiration there. Mercedes Martinez. Deonna Purrazzo. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, for me, I'm going to say, I don't want to say, I got a little teary-eyed, and I'll tell you why for the women's side of things. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, now the inspiration with the double I, which I love. It's one of those things where, like, those girls worked their butts off, man. They got the WrestleMania moment, and then they both released. Billie Kay's over here on SmackDown was hilarious. Peyton Royce was just wherever on Raw, but they finally get to showcase their true talents. Knockouts, tag champs. I've been loving the inspiration, and I really think it's awesome.
Me too. Like, their comeback story is really incredible. And now walking out of 2022 as Knockouts World Tag Team Champions. Like, I'm so happy for them.
Me too. And I mean, like we were talking about with such promotions, like you mentioned in the UK with Pro Wrestling Heat, but here Shimmer, Rise, Shine, all these girls come. It's full circle for them because you see prominent promotions, Impact Wrestling, WWE. It's really a proving ground, and it really just shows in their work, you know?
Definitely. I'm so excited for them heading into 2022. I mean, a lot of these recently rounds of releases. I mean, we saw Scarlett Bordeaux go back into pro wrestling. She premiered at Maryland Championship Wrestling. She was back, obviously. Taya Valkyrie premiered in AAA, seemingly going after Deanna. There's a lot of people that just got released where we don't know where they're going to end up. Some have 30 days, some have 90 days, but we'll see. Again, I just want all of them to thrive, though, and they definitely will wherever they decide to go.
Agreed, and that's what any professional wrestling fan and anyone in professional wrestling wants to see happen, just to continue to thrive and continue to strive and trust the process, man. And I got to ask you about The Miz really quickly, because besides The Miz and Morrison, are you looking forward to Miz and Edge?
Huh? Yes, absolutely. Edge is top 5 all time for me, and Miz is like top 5 currently and has been for a long while. So I mean, some things suck right now, but I feel like the real winner in Miz versus Edge. It's gonna be so good at day one. I'm so excited.
Agreed wholeheartedly. And now a lot of things have happened in 2021 besides Edge and Miz and everything combust with men and professional wrestling.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, because I know how much of a fan you are of this person, Miss LJ. How excited were you that Hangman Adam Page finally won the AEW World Heavyweight Championship?
It was about damn time. I am very salty, though, that he returned the week after my Dynamite. And won that ladder match, I think it was, or something like that. I'm very salty. I missed him by a week, but very happy that he is now AEW World Champion. I mean, he beat Kenny Omega, and Kenny had like an almost whole year reign. And now Hangman Adam Page, a proud Virginia native. You see, Virginia's where it's at. Mickie James and Hangman Adam Page are world champions right now. I'm here for it.
I like how you have to tie in the Virginia with, okay, I like your style. Okay, I see what you did there. But no, absolutely correct on your sentiments. But yeah, no, you have Hangman Adam Page, the storytelling from 2 years, and then boom, we finally get that moment where he beats Kenny. And I'm really looking forward to him and Bryan Danielson. He's been wrecking through the Dark Order. He's been killing it. I mean, I'm looking forward to Winter is coming. Winter is literally coming. Hangman Adam Page and Bryan Danielson.
It is. It's interesting because I mean Bryan kind of has this new attitude, but it's it's not a match we've seen ever before. So I'm definitely interested. I think Hangman retains, and then maybe Bryan has another feud. I don't know who's after Bryan though for Hangman. I don't know. I mean Revolution's coming up in March, so I don't know.
It's really interesting to see just how we're going to see positions going, because you really do not know. AEW's like really spur of the moment. And I mean, speaking of spur of the moments, man, my God, CM Punk wrecking MJF on friggin' one of the biggest promos ever.
Oh my God. I didn't even watch that AEW, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
A less famous Miz. A less famous Miz, and his face said it all.
I popped. And then I mean Miz and Edge like referenced it the next week on Raw. So that was so funny. And then just to see the memes from MJF's own mother, like she got a big pop though, I heard. So
well, that is the overall dedication, the passion, the love for
yeah.
your child. When you go along with what he's doing, and it's awesome. It's great to see his mom doing that, which it's hilarious. Just MJF.
Yeah. He has to be MJF has to be heel of the year. Honestly, I feel like he is every year though.
Well, you have a name like the Salt of the Earth. I mean, how can
that's true. That's true.
Can you not be? My goodness. But going back to Mickie James for a second here, because we mentioned the great match she's having, Impact and NWA Empower. For you, and I saw you and Samir and Melina's entrance there and everything that's encompassed. Now, Melina, another pioneer from her run starting with MNM in 2005, her women's championship run, and everything that's encompassed with her, being a part of that entrance. One of the most iconic entrances in women's wrestling history. Talk about that feeling, man.
My gosh, like I was just like I said before this, me and Samir were just talking about Empower and we were talking about that moment. It's still like doesn't feel real. Like that whole day was just super magical. Like it happened to fall on my 12-year anniversary that I found professional wrestling. It was my first ever pay-per-view ever attending, and just everything happened like so fast, but so like magical. Like we put in so much work leading into that with multiple rehearsals, even with a Melina stand-in leading up to that. It was surreal to be up on that stage just staring out at everybody and like taking those photos and then being a part of Melina like again, she was at my first ever wrestling event, period. There's been a lot of full circle moments this year. In the fact that like I get to relive that and like watch myself on a pay-per-view. And again, that wouldn't have happened had it not been for like Gail Kim, Melina, Mickey, like DS, like everybody just having it come together.
100%. And also, I will say this for me, and you and I have talked about this individual, and just because we love how she applies her craft and her as a person, it was so good to see Kylie Ray doing her thing on that pay per view and just in general. Because she is someone, I know she's gone through a lot, but god dang, man, she is so talented.
And yeah, and it was so cool to be able to meet her actually. And like we bonded over our love for Mickey James. And like she told me she was so nervous, like going into like both nights of her matchups. But she just for her to be back in NWA, and obviously, I mean, she just came back again at Hard Times too. She like is an incredible person and has a great story, and like just feeding off of her energy, she's honestly like one of the sweetest people I've ever met, and definitely one of the best like in-ring athletes.
And with her, like, besides being the called smiley Kylie Ray, how can you not smile when you look at just a bolt of energy, bubbly? Like, it's infectious.
It really is. And I'm glad that she like has that enough awareness to be able to want to better herself. I mean, not only in the ring, but like as a person too, like with personal struggles. And she's been open about it. So I think that's really inspiring to see her prevail after everything.
I think you have to be open about it. And I'll say this from experience in my own right, man. If you could touch somebody's heart and you can help people and try to make them not make the mistakes that you did, but also moving onward and upward with for people,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the most important thing you could do. And helping people is absolutely wonderful, and it's a blessing in itself.
Definitely to Kylie Ray. I mean, I'm so glad I finally got to see her wrestle and now to be able to like interact with her, and I want to go back to NWA so badly. She's like, I hope to see you in December. I'm like, I wish, girl.
Well, I'm sure you two will definitely meet again. I think the sky is the limit just in general for where we're going in 2022. And I think for professional wrestling as well, like we mentioned Charlotte and Becky and that whole tumultuous, my God, going into Survivor Series, but it makes for a hell of a story. And I will say this about Impact. Man, I checked out Knockouts Knockdown as well, and this person was also on NWA Empower. Jamie Senegal is the absolute shit. Beautiful tribute to Daphne. God rest her soul. It was wonderful just to see Jamie doing it up there because that's another one who's a very unsung talent in the industry.
Yeah, I got to meet Jamie. Oh my gosh, she has a great energy and vibe about her and like great in-ring prowess. And for her to get that opportunity, I mean, Adam Power was great, but to be able to have like that tribute to like her mom, like her wrestling mom, Daphne, after all of that at Knockouts Knockdown, I think was obviously a real testament to her talent, but like it made that emotional connection even more. I know it meant a lot to her to be able to be on Knockouts Knockdown and have that whole ice cream gear tribute. Was so it's a great moment.
And I got to say, Jamie did Daphne proud, and that she's
Mm-hmm.
very proud of herself. And I think, as far as professional wrestling goes as well, like it's been a very dominant year for a lot of people. I mean, we've seen Bobby Lashley and his reign as WWE champion. We've seen Big E now in that forefront. Roman Reigns, the head of the table. It's been a hell of a year for the World Heavyweight and WWE titles, respectively.
Except for poor Miz.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Here's the thing that you can say. It's another successful cash in, and he did get to win the title. How about that? There's a
He
plus.
did, and he became a two-time Grand Slam champion. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, like I mean, Roman Reigns has obviously been dominating. There's no denying that. But Bobby Lashley, like, I was not maybe the biggest fan of him going into that, but he had a great, respectable run with
Mm-hmm.
that championship, and then obviously Big E winning Money in the Bank and then cashing in on Bobby Lashley was another feel good moment. Bobby, like I became a fan of Bobby through his WWE Championship reign. Obviously, he was great with the Hurt Business and MVP and all of that, but he had a solid run. Like he's great in the ring. And then Big E cashing in, Big E winning Money in the Bank. Period. Firstly, was a great moment, and then Big E to cash in successfully and become WWE champion was another like great feel good moment for a lot of people.
Wholeheartedly agree. And I'm going to say right now, when Bobby Lashley, his first run, in WWE in like 2005 to 2007, ECW champ did his thing, but I wasn't like for Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
This run, he goes to TNA, kills it in TNA, now Impact Wrestling. Then he comes back and he's doing the Hurt Business and he's running through everybody, Bill Goldberg included, and it's like, God dang, where was this Bobby Lashley back in the day? But he has made it work, and it's wonderful. It's about time.
I agree. And like that, I didn't think that I was going to be a fan of the person that defeated The Miz, for it. But honestly, like I became a real fan of Bobby. Like heading into WrestleMania, I mean, I know Drew was the babyface, but like Bobby had me rooting for him. Like he was that good.
Oh, agreed. And also from a stance, too, I look at it like we've seen so many people come into WWE, and especially AEW. This is also where I you, my gal pal, because I got to say, you are all up in the scene and you know what's going down and just seeing everything from your perspective, watching independent wrestling and just expanding your mind and absorbing it. Jamie Hayter has been killing it. I got to give it to your girl, man, on AEW.
I'm so happy. Like when Jamie came into AEW, I mean, my friends knew that I loved her and texted me like Jamie's on, and I immediately turned it on. It's so cool to see somebody that like I was watching for 2 years prior, like dedicatedly. And also I found it ironic that like Jamie versus Britt Baker was the first ever independent match I watched, period. And so now to have them be allies in AEW is a weird, cool, full circle thing. But Jamie Hayter going into AEW, I hope eventually she gets like her own to run. But I mean, aligning with the AEW Women's World Champion was definitely a smart decision on her part. She had a great match against my other girl, Anna Jay. She recently just lost to Riho though, but I think it was still a strong showing for her. It's cool that she's now a part of like a huge company like AEW. I'm so happy to see somebody that I've been watching on the indies for a couple of years like make it big. I think that was really the first person I remember watching like make it big in like in a big major company.
I mean, and that's the great opportunity with AEW. I mean, they have obviously there's Rampage, there's Dynamite, but we have Elevation and we have Dark to showcase a lot of these talents that we may have not seen from the indies and just in general. I mean, my God, Marina Shafir, Roddy's wife, just did a bout with Kristen Statlander, so it's amazing to see all these people coming in and really showcase their talents. It's a proving ground, like we mentioned that term earlier, but it really does make wrestling fun and it makes wrestling feel just so unique and have that spark again.
Definitely too. I'm glad to see a lot of faces like on the independent scene like get a chance to showcase themselves, especially on a grand scale like Dark and Elevation.
Of course, and I mean the YouTube channels and everything that's going from the social media standpoint. I mean, back in the day, it was just boom, here we are. I mean, there was MySpace
Yeah.
like back in the day, but social media has just flown over the years, and to have such great content like Elevation and Dark, I mean, beautiful.
Right.
I mean, it's true, and I look at it from a stance too, because people do talk about social media being positive and negative. There's some positives out there too. You just have to find them. The silver lining.
Yeah.
Very, very true. And my goodness gracious as well, we also do have WWE Day 1 coming up. We mentioned Miz and Edge. We mentioned the potential of Charlotte and Toni Storm. And we mentioned a lot of great things coming up for WWE Day 1. Then your pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble's at the end of the month as well. So, I mean, you got two big stacked pay-per-views coming up.
I'm excited. I made sure that I will be not working the night of the Royal Rumble, because that is my pay-per-view. I haven't even thought about possibly who could be even winning that. I just need to get to the new year first. But like once January hits, just know I'll be in Royal Rumble mode. I love it so much. It's so you can have so much fun with it, even if you're totally wrong with your predictions. Like there's returns, there's surprises, there's always epic moments in the ring. I will say though, I am very disappointed that I will not be getting another John Morrison Royal Rumble moment. That's something I'm really sad about. But I mean, then again, Kofi Kingston is on paternity leave. I don't know if he'll be back by then, but hopefully he does, because he normally has a spot in the Rumble too. I mean, we got Naomi though too, who does great spots in the Rumble too. So as long as somebody's out there doing something, I'm excited.
Same. I think from the year in professional wrestling, and besides the budget cuts, I think from the stance too, the positive that we got to see, and I think you can agree with me on this. Again, going back to that sense of normalcy, performing in front of the people,
Yeah.
and reaction back again. And we mentioned WWE, AEW, Impact. Everybody's thriving, and that's how it should be in professional wrestling. Everything is coinciding, and it's a great time to be a professional wrestling fan, Ella.
It is, and I'm so happy to finally, in like less than 3 weeks now, be back at a WWE live event. I have not been to one since I was the last SmackDown with the crowd last year on March 6th, 2020. It's been almost 2 years, but now, I mean, I've gone to AEW. I've gone to obviously NWA Empower and a couple other indie shows, but to be back in WWE just feels like home. Unfortunately, Jeff will not be there anymore, but it's great that like the crowds are back definitely and all of that.
Agreed. And I'm going to say to people, if you have not been to a wrestling event in 2021, go do it in 2022 because there's going to be a lot to come wherever in your area. And I will say this because she brought it up so eloquently: support indie wrestling, independent professional wrestling. That is where it's at. That is where you get to see future stars get into that scale and just see a lot of damn good talent, man. And I got to say, speaking of damn good talent, I'm talking one with you, Miss Ella J. God dang, man, SC Scoops, CCW, you're doing your thing all around, and I'm going to say I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you. It's hard sometimes. I'm trying my best, but I really do appreciate you saying that.
Hey, of course, please. I'm always be one of your biggest supporters for the overall female empowerment that you do. You have that platform, you have that place with your Wrestling Gal podcast, and just in general, man, you're making moves, making $1 million moves. You're a player, huh?
I hope to make $1 million moves. I mean, I hope so. If somebody wants to give me a loan of $1 million, gladly, gladly.
You get your Dr. Evil on $1 million.
Shoot your shot, honestly.
And I got to say, man, for those who have not checked out Ella J, please do. It's one of the best follows on social media, and I truly mean that because you're always doing something, whether it be for your own show, just in general, and especially Ga. I got to, of course, mention Ga because the girl, the Ga cast, Mickie James, the SoCal Val, Victoria, everybody, that's a great show, and I got to give you much props on that because Ga is
amazing. I mean, I'm honestly just the editor of their podcast. They create most of the magic, and I'm always in there in the chat rooms and the live after parties, and obviously editing their podcast and putting it up there. It's just an honor to. I feel like a lot of this honestly started with because of Ga. Like without Ga and like Mickie bringing me on, I don't know if a lot of this other stuff would have happened. I feel like that really opens the door for the domino effect of everything else that has happened this year. And so for that, like I'm forever grateful to be on Team Ga, to be working with these amazing women. But I think that also opened a door for other things to happen, like an SD Scoops, like a WrestleZone, like everything else that I'm doing. Without that, I don't know if I would be doing some of the stuff I'm doing right now, honestly.
well. I got to say right now, as long as I've known you now, and I truly mean this, like you got a good head on your shoulders, and like it's gonna really pan out for you. It truly is. And I will say this: somebody's got to teach Mickie James about them Twitter Spaces, man. I see you up in there doing all that.
I did.
Yeah. Huh?
That was fun. She's hoping to do more. So I think she's done 2 officially now. I think she has to do 3 before you can apply for like ticketed spaces, because I know she wants to do more like live shows and live conversations, or maybe like live podcasts or live gauze. So I got her on lock. Luckily, I know some other people who were more knowledgeable than me that we brought in. But yeah, teaching Mickie James. I mean, I taught Mickie James TikTok. Mickie James is on TikTok because of me. And ironically, that's kind of how I got brought into Team Ga. I don't think I've ever even told that story.
Because you helped Mickie James get on.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I have not told this story, but yeah, so gosh. So last year feels forever ago. So like November of last year, like there was this video of Mickie that was like a funny meme reaction. I was like, that's like she reposted it to her Instagram. And I'm like, that would be so good like on TikTok. Like it's one of those funny videos where she was reacting to something. I'm like, girl, that would be so funny on TikTok. And then she's like, what's TikTok? And then I like helped her set it up, sent her the video, and she posted it. And then and then like a couple days later, she's like, I've been like needing some help with like some of my social media. She's like, is there like she's like, I want to work with you, something that will like benefit us both. So we're like bouncing ideas off of each other and stuff. And then eventually she was like, do you want to help us like launch our podcast and stuff like that? And then that's how it got started, was because I told her to post something on TikTok. And then since then she's actually posted stuff on TikTok. So because of a meme, I'm now the editor of Godcast somehow. So it's a weird story, but it started because of a meme video that I told her to post, pretty much.
Well, okay, so helping Mickey with TikTok and this meme video has gotten you to go on all that, but it's the little things. You never know how you're going to start from something and then you get to where you are.
Yeah.
That's nuts, but it's awesome. And also well, here's the thing too. I got to say something. When it comes to being technologically savvy, sometimes we have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Help a lot of people out with the technology game. I'll be honest with you. I'm on TikTok, but I still don't get it.
Oh, I just scroll. I don't know anything about posting or editing videos. I just watch. I know how to send DMs on there. That's about it.
It's addicting as hell though, man, because you'll be up at the all hours of the night just scrolling through the TikTok, man.
I've gotten better. I used to be up till 4 or 5 in the morning earlier this year, and a lot of people know that from me posting on Twitter. But I've gotten better. I don't really scroll for longer than maybe a half hour now. Sometimes it'd be 5 hours.
Oh my goodness gracious! But well, that's the thing about social media. We were talking about positives and negatives, but it's also very addicting, man. You have to find the balance. Everybody's got to find that healthy balance.
That's for sure.
Well, there is a healthy balance of something, and that is professional wrestling. And it's been a year for 2021. I cannot wait for 2022. I think what 2021 has brought us for professional wrestling is great men and women showcasing their talents. Yes, there may have been some releases and obstacles along the way, but goddamn, they're going to get back on their feet and continue to thrive and strive.
That's for sure. I'm so excited for 2022, like not only for like myself personally, but like wrestling. Like there's a lot of cool things and events coming up.
And you think Dolph Ziggler will finally get that singles match and win at WrestleMania?
I hope so. I mean, never say never. I mean, there's people like who had Mandy Rose as NXT Women's Champion in 2021.
Hold on there, man. We got to talk about this. This woman goes from WWE teaming with Dana Brooke, right, who's now the 24/7 champ. This woman has a complete makeover. She's got the brunette, and she's a part of one of the most dominant female acts on NXT and Toxic Attraction. Flawless.
She's definitely been a breakout star of 20, like starting off the year in the first 5 months, I would say, like teaming with Dana on Raw. Nothing really substantial though. And then going back down to NXT, and then we're like, what is she doing here? And then she has the makeover. She's brunette. She has that alliance. She was scouting talent. Then obviously Gigi Dolan and JC Jane come in, and now Toxic Attraction are all the women's champions in NXT.
See, that's the thing too. I'm really glad you brought that up. I got a little excited once you said Mandy Rose. But no, it's one of those things because it's like she starts from Tough Enough, and here we are. She's with Absolution with Paige and Sonya Deville. Her and Sonya Deville. The thing with Otis. Now she's one of the baddest women on the block, baddest women in general in NXT, and it fits because there's this veteran working with the young girls, and it fits. It molds, man. So
it's wild to think that like now she's a veteran in this. Like she started in Absolution where Paige was the veteran. Now she's kind of the leader. It's crazy.
At the end of the day, it's still awesome. And I think with age and how we get older, it's wiser and we get to help a lot of people. So it all comes with wisdom, right?
That's true. And she's definitely come a long way since Tough Enough and now walks into 2022 as NXT Women's Champion. Definitely one of the shocking moments of the year.
And I will say this, as far as Dana Brooke goes, it's great to see her finally win a championship. And yes, people I know are going to say, oh, it's the 24/7 championship. But I'm going to say that damn blockbuster on Cedric Alexander was awesome. But it's good. It really is because Dana Brooke, who has been, my God, since what, like 2013, 2014, 2015, like start of NXT. And here she is years later, finally, right?
Yeah, finally. And she's so wholesome with it. Like for her, it's like winning the world championship because it's like her first taste of singles gold. And she just embodies great positivity. And you can tell that she's having a lot of fun and gratitude with the championship.
Kind of reminds me of Tamina as well, too, because Tamina has been on that roster since 2010. And then this year, her and Natty finally get that rightfully deserved, right?
Wasn't it like 4,000 days since she debuted in WWE? It was like 4,005 days, I believe, since she debuted in WWE and then won a championship in there.
I got a funny story for you. This involves Tamina. So it's amazing just to think about, like you were talking about live events and all that we do. My first ever seeing Tamina in live was actually at the Very forgetful, but the only one-time WWE Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view, her pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Tamina and the Usos against Tyson Kidd, David Hart Smith, and Natalya. And then here they are 11 years later winning the tag titles.
It's true. Oh my gosh. I remember that pay-per-view too.
Oh, I will say this. I mean, I wouldn't say it's as bad as a lot of people thought because, well, first and foremost, bias, Long Island. But number two, it wasn't. But I mean, after all the stuff that they did, it was based on a survey. Remember this, right?
Yeah.
And you could really like vote on, oh, what do you want the main match to be? And they pick Fatal 4-Way. Or what do you want the name of the pay-per-view? And some pick Fatal 4-Way. It's with these match concepts, man.
Yeah. I mean, we had the one and only Capital Punishment in 2010, 2011, something like that. 2011. I mean, they have some one and dones. I mean, I'm grateful that Great Balls of Fire did not live on.
That face I just made. Okay. No, all right, we gotta talk about this. So, Capital Punishment also feature. I know you love The Miz. I'm gonna bring this up. A-Rai, man, Alex Riley, Mr. Say It to My Face, and him and The Miz had that breakthrough match.
And then Cena and R-Truth. I remember that.
This man loses because a kid throws a soda in his face.
I remember. Little Jimmy.
Little Jimmy. Good God. But no, and like you mentioned, Great Balls of Fire. I love the song. Jerry Lee Lewis. You know me, music guy, right? Not a name for a pay-per-view.
No.
No.
No. I think they realized that because I don't think it returned again.
Thank God. Goodness gracious, Great Balls of Fire. And goodness gracious, what a year for professional wrestling. As we're winding down here, Ella J, I got to say, man, again, very proud of you, and you're one of my dearest friends in the podcasting game. I can't wait to see what 2022 holds for you, and as always, it's a pleasure and privilege. I can't wait to come back on your show as well.
Thank you. 2021's been like wild, just thinking back to January, which was like 11 months ago at this point, to now in December. It's been crazy, like wrestling and like personally and professionally. And there's really, oh gosh, there's so many cool stuff coming up in 2022. I'm so excited.
Same. And I look at it from a stance too, folks, as we usher into a new year. Just continue to stay positive and move onward and upward because the sky's the limit for each and every one of us as individuals. And god dang, man, take that ride and trust the process. Ella J, please promote your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So many social medias out there. I mean, for CCW, talk about just everything promoted. Links will be in the description. Go ahead, Ella.
Honestly, though, just to make it easy on everybody, if you go to my Twitter at It's Ella J, ITSELLAJAY, if you go to my bio in there, you will see a link tree with links. I need to add CCW now to this thing. I got to update it. I have links to my podcast, A Wrestling Gal, Twitter, Instagram, SE Scoops, WrestleZone, Women's Wrestling Talk, Bell to Bells, a lot of things I'm doing. That reminds me that I do need to update it. So thank you for that. But if you go to my Twitter bio, you will find all the links to that and, of course, links to merchandise as well and my website, wrestlinggale.com.
Links will be in the description. 2 other things. More women's wrestling promotions, more independent wrestling promotions, more wrestling promotions so we can see some of the hottest talents out there get to that mainstay. Some more wrestling promotions, I will say, for 2022. And another thing I got to say, god dang, man, you're killing it. Correspondent, podcaster, doing the damn thing. Links will be in the description. But as I always say, beauty, strength, and dominance, the 3 key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And gal pal, Miss Ella J, I include you in those sentiments. Thank you as always for your time. It's a pleasure and a privilege.
Thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun as always. I can't believe we're almost in 2022, Mike.
Me either. And I'm going to say this for both of us. More pay-per-view debuts, more stuff, commentary, announcing. Let's ride this wave, man.
Oh, I can say March is going to be a fun month for me personally. But that is all I will say.
I was about to say, no spoilers, man. We're not even in March yet. Let's wait. Trust the process. I had a thing going there.
I know. True.
For Ella J, my name is Mike Larkin. Thank you guys as always for listening, and thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time.